Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry I didn't put myself on the stage. Hello. I love that you're in the chat with such warm greetings already. Can you hear me okay? I'm just switching up the microphone. Maybe you can hear me better now. Good to see you. Hello, hello. Hi, Society Page. Tennis girl. Say up. Are you all there? Okay. So I have been watching so many different trials and hearings and legal proceedings and just dying to talk to you all about it. Just let me know if you can hear me okay before I start talking too much. And I also, oh, yay, okay. So I want to just catch up, but I also want to get through this Brooks Houck interrogation because his trial is supposed to happen next month and we still have to do his brother's interrogation videos. So I'm not sure if it was an interview or interrogation. The reason I say that is it seemed like an interrogation to me, but it wasn't followed by an immediate arrest with either the brother or Brooks. So in any case, it's a police interview either way. And there's about an hour left, and I want to get through that tonight. So that's a lot of material, but I also wanted to check in with you guys to see what you're watching, what you have been paying attention to since I was last on 6 weeks ago. So I watched the entire Jennifer Crumbley trial, and I am up to date, I'm up to date on the Michelle Troconis trial. Jennifer Crumbley was, of course, found guilty. Michelle's trial is extraordinarily long, considering it's not a murder trial, it's a conspiracy. I believe accessory after the fact, tampering with evidence, that kind of thing. So, okay, so Tennis Girl has been watching Harmony, and that is Katie, my friend, has been watching that. And Crumbly. What did you think about And I haven't watched Harmony because it's a little too triggering for me. Because of what happened when I was a kid. So tell me about Crumbly. What did you think? I just feel like maybe I'm starting to want to hold up the prosecution to higher standards. And as I've watched more and more trials, because I really don't want to see anyone go to prison that might be not guilty of the charges that they've been convicted of by the jury. And so with Crumbly, I just didn't feel like they made the connection and of how she knew or could possibly have known that her kid was going to be violent, because there didn't seem to be a history of violence or mental illness as there has been with some of the other school shooters. So I just thought it was an odd one to take to trial. Now her husband, it may be a different story. No idea what they have on him, but I'm glad the jury deliberated for a while. It wasn't like in and out, they didn't give it any thought. I was encouraged by that. So Tennis Girl says, Crumbly, I'm conflicted. I definitely hope she gets a life sentence. Yeah, that's how I feel. Hey, Mona, it's so nice to see you. Yeah, these little girls. What happened with me, and I'm just going to put it out there, from the time I was the older side of 10 to 11, I was stalked by this creep, okay? And he was unsuccessful with me. He tried first by running me over with his car on our first meeting, and then continuing to stalk me, blah, blah, blah. Tried to get me in his car. It was clearly, to me as a little kid, he seemed really scary and violent, like he wanted to hurt me. And unfortunately, he went on to find another victim 4 blocks away, a little girl who was 5 years younger than I. So she was, I believe, 7 when he took her, and he murdered her. And she was found. Her body was found a couple of days after a search party of like 1,000 people from the neighborhood, all that, like the typical story. And this was a long, long time ago, because it was actually 50 years ago, last year. And this man is still in prison. And so I still am involved in writing to the parole board and in touch with her family and all of that. We have mutual friends that we grew up with and all that kind of thing. So when it comes to little girls, especially, it's very hard for me. It's very hard. Sometimes I can handle it. Sometimes I can, read about it at least, but yeah. So I don't mind hearing about it, but I just can't invest what I do in some trials with that. So that's my story. Yeah, I do. I keep up with it, and her family is grateful. They're just lovely people. And she came from, they had 10 children. That wasn't terribly uncommon in my neighborhood. We had like a lot of Catholic families with 10 kids and big, huge families. And we weren't in touch the whole time, but through the process, I usually stayed anonymous, but then I decided I was going to let them read I still was anonymous, but I let them read my letter out loud instead of just writing to the commissioner this last year. And the family wanted to know if they could meet me, and I said, okay. And then we had a great meeting, and yeah, it's been just an incredible, last year was incredible for me in so many ways. So yeah. So hey, Mona, did you watch Jennifer Crumbley's trial or not? Did you see her? I'm going to just pull up the file for tonight's. YouTube has a little bit of a different look. So I'm looking for tonight's video of the police interrogation of Brooks Houck. He's got the weirdest name. I have a hard time saying it. Looking forward to the Chad Daybell case. April, we've got a lot coming up. And I don't know, has anyone heard anything about Sarah Boone? I heard there was a new judge and a new lawyer. Like, isn't it like her 8th or 9th lawyer? So yeah, crazy. Okay, so let me come back here, open up that. Yeah, 8th attorney. Can you even? I don't get it. Like, what is she doing? What is she doing? What is she doing? I don't get it. Like, is it? I mean, I watched the hearings and all that, and she seems fairly subdued during the hearings. Her letters are quite elaborate. Let's put it that way. I think she wants them to sound a certain way, and they're coming off a different way. But it's not like her letters are super insulting toward her attorneys or anything. So I just don't know what's going on. So maybe the new judge will be the ticket. And I do have a docket we can look at too, but other trials. But I want to get through this this interrogation. Why are they letting her do that? Right? They should make the attorney stay on the case. They've tried. Right. Okay. So it will be her 9th. Okay. I think she got the 9th attorney, if I'm not mistaken. And Hey Mona says it's a game for her attention, in my opinion. Also keeps her a little in control. Maybe. It could be. By the way, this green background, I need to change it. I'm in the middle of redoing my office a little bit, so I have to apologize. I got a makeshift setup here. Okay, guys. So are you ready to go on to the next? Are you ready to go on to the next section of the Brooks Houck interrogation? Are we ready? All right. Here we go. Good old Brooks. And I think let me get the right time. We're a little farther than an hour in. Oops, there. I'm looking at the clock behind him. So I'm going to just back up like a minute. So we might have just a tiny bit of overlap from the last one. So we can just kind of refresh our memories as to where we were when we left off. So are we ready? Okay, so Hey Mona says, and I'm sorry about your 49ers, Hey Mona. I don't know if we have had a chance to talk since the Super Bowl. It seems like a million years ago, but it was only a week and a day ago. Hopping in and out while cleaning. Cousins are stopping by this week. Watch and rewatch. Awesome. Yes, on Houck. Okay. All right. So let's roll. Let's roll with it. I realize I've been gone for a while, so YouTube has probably not notified anyone I'm on, and I understand how that works. It's okay. All right, so let's go with Brooks. And if you could just let me know that you can hear. Remember, the sound isn't really great. I'm going to put it up as high as I can. But here, can you hear Brooks Houck?
I don't know if I ate much there. I know I ate supper out there at Fabian's house that night because he had everybody over there at his house for, there's about, I don't know, maybe 150 people over there at my mom's brother's house. We went out there for a short while. It wasn't real long. I know I ate there. Eli ate there. I don't know what we did for lunch. I can't remember.
Okay. Did you go from the farm to Fabian's, or
I don't know if I took I may have went home and taken a shower from being out there on the farm. I don't want to go there smelling like a bunch of cows.
Sure.
I may have went home. I'm not sure. I don't know. I may have went home and took a shower and then came back. That's more than likely what I did, but I can't remember.
Okay. So then sometime Saturday evening, you went over to Fabian's house. Do you remember around about what time that was?
I think it's interesting when he says, he gives his answer. First of all, he didn't answer what he was asking. And then he went on with his wordiness, let's call it. But then when he's done, the way he cocks his head and looks straight into the eyes of the police, the interviewer, and he's really still trying to show dominance, but he's also, by cocking his head that way, I think he's trying to get a read on whether he believes what he's selling him or not. Brooks is trying to get a read on the interviewer. And but the way he is staring into his eyes at this point when he's given an answer, he's trying really hard, in my opinion, to find out if the interviewer is buying what he's selling.
That would have been 4th of July.
Yeah, that's when we were supposed to go to that.
Mm-hmm. Did you all stay out there for fireworks, or?
We didn't stay that late. I know that there was a bunch of people there that I hadn't seen in a good while. That my mom's got a pretty large family that I hadn't seen that I wanted to see them, but we didn't stay out there real late.
Any idea how many times you've called Crystal at this point? By the time you went from getting up Saturday morning until you were going to the family gathering?
I know I called her back around maybe noon again the second time, and I don't know what the exact time I called her after that, but I know that sometimes in the past, if I called her to blow her phone up, it made it worse.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I've just called periodically, and I found that she doesn't take as much offense to that. If you're just disrespectful to them, especially if somebody's mad, it just makes it worse. To
right.
Call them. I wasn't even alarmed. I was for sure the girls were doing this to me on purpose. Brooke and Sabrina and them.
So while you're at,
So I don't have the greatest memory anymore. So maybe if you're watching or replaying when you hear this, do you remember where Brooks actually said they had gotten in a spat? Because I don't remember him even saying that, but then he's implying here that she was mad at him, and instead of just answering, I only called her once or twice, probably, he goes into, he elaborates about, oh, I don't want to blow up her phone. I mean, that's quite an extreme from going from one call to blowing up her phone. There's like a lot of different options in between, like 2 calls, 3 calls, 4 calls. Blowing up somebody's phone, thinking is like every minute or something. I don't even know. But so he's now kind of dipping his toe into that she was angry with him. And then, of course, this is where we did leave off, where he's saying her girlfriends were out to get him, and that he thought they were just messing with him, and that's why she wasn't in their home when he woke up. So odd. Yeah, I didn't recall it. Okay, good. I shouldn't, say my memory isn't good, but sometimes, it's been 6 weeks since the last interview, but I don't recall this. All of a sudden, he's saying that. Now, the interrogator doesn't really, let's see what he says, if he picks up on that, or if he just pretends like he didn't notice it. And I'm sure if I noticed it and you noticed it, then he would notice it, the interrogator.
at the family gathering at Fabian's house, anybody ask you where Crystal was?
Mm-mm. She hadn't went out there to Fabian's house a whole lot. Some of them people knew her, some of them people out there wouldn't have known her, but right then I don't
Not
remember.
really a big deal for them.
No, and it's something that those people there we see once ever, sometimes every few years. So a lot of them people really hadn't. Some of them have seen her, and a lot of them have not seen her. Haven't met her.
Sure.
So
So
like I said, it was a substantial amount of people.
you're out there. You said did you say you didn't stay for fireworks?
No, we didn't stay that late.
So you and Eli leave before dark.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's usually when people set off fireworks on 4th of July. And do you go home? You go to somebody else's house?
That was on Saturday.
Yep, that was Saturday. You go to mom's? Where do you go after you leave there?
Wow.
No, I think we rode with my mother over there.
To Fabian's house?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we rode with her, and then I went home after that.
So you rode back to mom's house with her, and then you didn't stay at mom's. You went back to your house.
Yeah, I didn't.
So again, he's really getting stumbled up here. He's saying, where did you go after Fabian's, your cousin's house? And that long pause where Brooks had to really think about what he was doing. Like, this was only a few days after this all happened. It wasn't a year later. Okay. And it was such a significant, you would think it was a significant event now that she's shown up missing, or not shown up missing, however you want to say that. But it's taken him a long time. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I rode there with my mom. Well, he wasn't asking who you rode with. He was asking where you went after, and he still hasn't answered him after all that. It's just, and then hey, as I'm doing right now, he cradles his head with his hand, which means I'm guessing he's getting fatigued here with this. Now we're over an hour into this interrogation, and he's probably getting pretty tired.
I don't know the exact timing and all that right there, but I do know that I rode with her over there to Fabian's house.
Okay. And you left her house and went home.
I don't know if I stayed there any period of time or not. I may have stayed there just a little bit. I don't think very much, but I might have stayed there a little bit. I'm not sure.
I mean, you didn't stay the night there.
No.
Did you go anywhere else after you left mom's house before you went home?
Not that I can remember.
Okay.
I tell you what would be a good idea for folks is to put a darn camera. You think I'm joking? I'm being serious. You try to go back through this. I need to
know
put a
it is
camera
hard, but-
in your vehicle and up there in front of you, just live on tape and then you.
Well, I'm not asking you to recall every detail of your life, brother, but I'm just trying to.
But it would help me if I could.
Well, but listen, I couldn't tell you what I did 2 days ago. I couldn't tell you what I did before I started investigating this, because I've been investigating this for 3 days.
Mhm.
You know, so I'm not asking you to remember every single minute, but, you know, and I realize that it wasn't a big deal for her to be gone for you, but, you know, most people can remember, you know, most of the things they did during the day, not every single minute, but you remember going to Fabian's house, you remember leaving Fabian's house and going to Mom's, right? And going, so if you went from Mom's house to home, you'd eaten dinner at Fabian's.
And I don't know if it was her mother. I met her mother at the gas station somewhere. One of them days.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother, Sherry,
Mm-hmm.
Crystal's mother, Sherry, and I don't know if Ashley was with her and other kids were with them, but I stopped at right there in front of Walmart where I get a bunch of fuel at up right there, that Murphy station across from Lowe's right there.
Right.
And I was on the phone with either Ashley or Sherry, one, I forgot which, and they said, I tell you what I've done too. I talked to Brooke on the phone at the farm. I talked to Brooke, her younger sister, before I left because I was heading into town to get fuel at that point. So whatever time that I talked to Brooke.
Okay, this is really confusing because so now he's saying, "Oh, I talked to Crystal's mother. I thought he said he ran into her at Walmart, but did he say he was talking to her and then someone else and now he's picking and then he's like remembering a call that he made from the farm to Crystal's sister? I am so confused. Did you pick that? I'm so confused.
You'll know that I left. So make a note of that. I talked to Brooke on the phone, and that's when I was leaving the farm on 49. And I drove in 49, and then I made a right there on 150 and went up there to Walmart. And then I got on the phone with Sherry or Ashley, when I don't know whose phone they were on. But that'll help me right there because that's you can pinpoint an exact time. And then I pulled in there to that Murphy station.
Mm-hmm.
And then
so he tells the detective, you write that down. You make a note of that. I just the hubris of this dude. But here's the thing. Why is he telling him it's so important that he talked to Crystal's sister and mom on the phone? Like that's going to make a difference? I mean, they have his phone records. I'm not following this. What did I miss, you guys? Tell me.
Sherry came up there to my window.
Okay.
Yeah.
And asked me if I'd seen Crystal. And this.
Okay, so he did just say Sherry came up to my window. So he did say he ran into her. He's like, he ran into her. He's on the phone with her. He ran into. It's like, dude, you know. And I agree. He's probably doing this confusion on purpose and a way to deflect. But come on, dude, they're gonna know what your phone records say. This is crazy.
This right here is after I had I talked to Barbara Lane and I sent her, I called her a couple times. I don't think I got an answer. She's probably busy doing something. And then I sent her a text message. And after I kind of stayed on her, she knew that it was serious because it'd been longer than normal when she'd done this before in the past.
And this was Saturday?
I'm not sure. You'll have to. So much stuff happened all so quick. You just have to dissect. That's the reason I've given you all my stuff.
Yeah.
You can dissect all that and figure, get an.
He just said when it was. He just said it was when he left his cousin's house. He went home with his mother, and then he stopped to get fuel up at Walmart, and that was Saturday. And now he's like, I don't know when it was. Wow. I'm just blown away because it took him 8 years to arrest this guy after this crazy interview. Come on.
Exact time. So I called Barbara and I sent her a text message. I talked to her mother at Walmart, up there at that Murphy gas station. I had Eli with me then, of course, had him with me all the time. And she wanted to look at Eli. She said, "Where's Eli?" I said, "Right there." And then she spoke to him and she looked at him and said hi, and he said hi, and that was it.
So she just asked you where, if you'd seen Sherry, and you told her.
I don't know if you guys watched the behavior panel, but did you just notice the left shoulder shrug and he tucks his chin into it? That usually is, and that's, I believe, a Joe Navarro thing that you can look up if you want. I'm not going to say what it is because I'm not an expert, but boy, that was a double shoulder shrug where he tucked his chin in, and she wanted to look at Eli. He didn't say. She wanted to say hello. She didn't want to see her grandson. She wanted to look at Eli. That's telling. Um, and then they just said, he said hi, she said hi, and they said hi, and that was it. And then the double shrug to the left. This, by then he's already in his mind trying to write the Crystal's mother, Eli's grandmother, out of the picture right here, which is really sad. Again, only a few days after her disappearance.
No, she asked me if I saw
Crystal, sorry.
Crystal.
Get my names confused. So Sherry asked you if you'd seen Crystal.
She's the only one. Everybody else stayed in her vehicle, and then she walked over to my truck.
And when you told her, what, I haven't seen her, don't know where she is, and she just said okay and asked
No,
about
she thought that the wisest thing for us to do was, she said she was going to go to the police station.
Okay, so
And I told her that I think at that point I've already talked to Barbara, I believe, I'm not sure, Barbara Lane, and I'm not sure. I don't know the time periods. I don't know. I just don't know.
That's fine. That's fine. So
And then I went home.
So Saturday you went home after
The gas station.
So you think that was okay? So you think the gas station was between leaving the farm and getting showered up before you go to Fabian's?
No, that's incorrect.
Okay.
So he really does know what's going on, and it was Saturday.
You said you were leaving to go get fuel.
Yeah, I did leave the farm to go get fuel. I don't know. I don't know if that was Friday. I don't know if that was Saturday that I got fuel. I'm sure I did it with my card. I can prove what time that was too.
And
So I talked to
maybe
Sherry.
Sunday. Do you think it was this? Do you think you talked to Sherry the same day they reported her missing? You said she said something.
Yes, she said yes. Okay. The day that
So they reported her missing on Sunday.
Then it was Sunday. I feel like whenever. That's because Sherry told me she's going to the police station.
Mm-hmm.
Is Sherry the one that reported her missing?
Mm-hmm.
Sherry's. All right. I had a question from the media or from the news that I wanted to ask you all to think about. You all said that a family member found her car. How does that happen? Rather than the police department, as large as this county is, a family member.
Well, that's a pretty big family, and as I understand it, someone who knew them called them and said there's a car that looks like hers on the parkway, and they went out there.
Who was the family member that found that car?
I don't know. I have to look at my notes. There were two of them.
Am I able to know that question, that answer?
I can tell you who it was. I just have to look back through my notes and see who it was. And I'm not great either, but I want to say that it was. I'm trying to think. There was.
You can look back at them. I'm sure.
I want to say it was a brother and nephew. I know we took elimination prints from one of them because they touched the car before we got there. So we took elimination prints from them, like we did from you, to rule out any prints that we found in the car as being that person.
All right.
So I want to say that it was one of her brothers.
She only had Casey's or only
Casey's. So I want to say it was her brother and maybe her dad that went out there. But I think it was her brother that somebody actually called, but that may be incorrect. I'll have to look at the notes.
All right.
But so Saturday evening, you went to Fabian's house, you had dinner, you went home. You're home all evening with Eli.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anybody come over? Anybody not?
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, Richie comes over to my house all the time. He's over every day.
Who's Richie?
Richie Riggs, he's my manager, my real estate agent. He lives next
Oh, okay.
door at 115 Glenview Drive. He's one of the people on that list.
Okay. So you go to bed Saturday night.
His demeanor is so weird here. He knows exactly who Richie Rich is or whatever his name is. Riggs, I'm not sure, and his neighbor, and he just rattles off his address and he comes over. The way his demeanor for that whole thing is so cocky and almost little boyish. It's just very strange. The way he conducts himself in this interview. I guess we're getting to know Brooks Houck. Maybe he's just a strange dude, but his attitude, he doesn't remember anything, and then all of a sudden he just rattles this off. It's just so inconsistent and odd. When you know he's on the hot seat, but he's trying to maintain control and act like he's in charge. It's just too much. It's crazy.
You got Eli with you, presumably, because you said you guys went home from Fabian's.
Not presumably, he was with me.
Right. Well, I didn't want to put words in your mouth, so if he's with you, tell me.
He's with me, yeah. Eli's with me.
Again, not trying to offend,
Yeah.
I just don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, I don't want you to either.
So you and Eli go to bed Saturday night. You get up normal time Sunday morning. Do y'all go to church?
No, sir.
Okay.
Didn't go to church. But on Sunday, I don't remember what we did Sunday.
Okay. Well, I don't want to.
Is Sunday when I went in? Is Sunday when I came up here and talked to you that night, or Saturday night?
That would have been Sunday night. Mm-hmm. Sorry, let me make sure he's giving me what I need here. Your phone's on my desk. That's what he was telling me.
That's fine. I ain't worried about that. Hope we had fun answering it.
He probably didn't answer. Yeah, Sunday night you came up here and talked to me. That was after they found the car and everything. So sometimes
he's throughout this interview has demonstrated how important he thinks he is by that so many people are always calling him, and the fact that he reminded him of that at this point is also just tells me a lot about this guy.
Sunday after 12 o'clock is when you talk to Sherry at the gas station. I think, and I'd have to look at your phone to see, but correct me, and you may know or might know, but you called Barbara. You call her Barbara Lane. I just call her Barbara. That's all I've ever known her by. But Barbara Roby was a Ballard, right?
Yeah.
You called her and talked to her about Crystal being gone, or she called you?
No, I'm the one calling her.
Okay. And what does that conversation sound like?
I think the first time that I called her, that I don't think she answered the phone. So I left a message, and then I don't got a response, and then I sent a text message to her, and that's when she called back, and I think she tried to call her and she didn't get an answer.
Okay.
And
So I'm piecing things together from what they've told me as well. So at some point you do talk to her on the phone, but when you get up Sunday morning and Crystal's still not home, or you're starting to get concerned, that's why you call Barbara? Or?
Yes, exactly. And that's the reason that I did call her. But before then, I wasn't alarmed. She done this before,
right?
And I wasn't alarmed. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. So you call Barbara.
I knew I gave Barbara Lane more credibility than Sabrina, Brooke, or any of them, because I know them young girls. If Crystal tells them not to say nothing, you ain't gonna be able to beat it out of them.
Right.
And them girls they're just like, especially to a guy, if they're fighting, they're not, and I'm smart enough to know that, but I knew Barbara would say, hey, she don't want to talk to you, or she's fine, just leave her, give her some time. I knew Barbara wouldn't keep me, she's a mature woman. Do you understand the difference in what I'm, so she would at least, I feel like, let me know, hey, where I wouldn't have to worry.
Right.
She might not give me no details or nothing, which is fine, but she would at least ease my concern. And that's the reason I called her over
Sure.
these other people, because I knew I'd get further with her.
And at some point, so you do talk to her, and as I understand it, at some point she came over to your house.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
She's been there a few times since then.
Right, but that particular day she came over to your house, was that before or after you talked to Sherry? Do you remember?
I have no idea.
No, that's fine. So you.
To be honest with you, I don't even remember doing that. I remember seeing her a bunch more this last little bit than I really ever had before, but I don't, as far as talking to Sherry at the gas station
Right.
and then keeping everything synchronous, I had no idea, none.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know that Sherry was here at 3:00 thereabouts filing the report, the missing persons report. So that part I can kind of figure out. Okay, so it was sometime before 3:00 that you talked to her at the gas stations. I'm thinking probably, closer to that time than farther away, not early in the morning, what have you. And then, of course, fast forward to they find the car at 5:00 out on the parkway, and the sergeant responds out there, and then he calls me, and then I come out and start investigating, and obviously I call you to come and talk to me about the last time that you saw Crystal. So that kind of builds my timeline. Obviously there's some gaps in there, understandably. But some of those gaps become really important. For instance, validating or invalidating the guy's statement about her being on 49 between 1 and 2. You see what I'm saying? The gaps in time become really important to me, because that's how I determine where my gaps in the investigations are and where I should focus my investigation. I've got guys out there that all I got to do is call them and say, hey, go check this out. But I have to have something for them to check out before I can call and tell them. Couple things that I want to get into that are going to be, somewhat personal, okay? And it's not intended to pry into your personal life. It's intended to pry into what's going on in Crystal's mind, okay? I'm trying to get a reference for her frame of mind for the past few days before she goes missing, so that I can rule out any possibility of intention to harm self or things of that nature. You understand? And I don't know that I can rule that out, but what do you think about it? Do you think that she has the potential to harm herself?
I don't know any of all that. Crystal is not that kind of person. I don't believe at all. I don't feel that way at all.
Mm-hmm. So you don't think she had any suicidal tendencies whatsoever?
No, sir.
Never tried it in the past?
No.
Never come close to ODing on drugs in the past?
No.
When she would go out, did she drink much?
She not a whole family drinks, but she drinks a little bit, not any.
To the point where somebody has to bring her home and drop her on the front stoop?
No, she ain't no drunk.
Mm-hmm. Well, you said sometimes she goes out after you go to bed.
They do drink and they need a driver, but they're not what you're describing is like a sloppy drunk, just somebody got tore down. I mean,
right.
That's not an accurate picture of her.
Okay.
And she likes going out and having a good time, but I mean, she's, I guess, I don't want to say like a maybe conservative person, but
sure.
I found this section really interesting because, a lot of people who are not telling the truth, who did somebody wrong, they might take this opportunity to disparage them and say, yeah, she would drink so much, sometimes I would worry, or, she was a sloppy drunk. And I just found that really interesting. But I also got the sense that he was doing it because she's associated with him. And this is more about him maintaining his sense of propriety in the eyes of this detective in their particular community. I'm not sure why I feel that way. I cannot pinpoint that, but I just thought it was interesting because he could have gone for her jugular here and made her look badly. Yeah, he's being held in jail. There's no way. I think it was like a $10 million bond. I'm guessing there's going to be I can look. Let me look that up right now. I knew that was gonna come up. There's supposed to be a March, unless there's a delay, a March trial. So I'm guessing there'll be a status hearing right around the corner. I think I have it written on my docket. I'll check. Oops.
Just a normal, typical.
Social drinker.
Yeah, a normal, typical person likes to have a good time. I mean, that's it.
So if you had to guess, how often would you say she would go out?
She doesn't go out real often, not real often. I mean, she's got all those, all her kids, and we got Eli. I mean, we have a pretty busy lifestyle, and seems like we've always got kids here and there. So, I mean,
Right.
we don't have a whole lot of time to do that. We don't like to get babysitters all the time. You know, sometimes if her parents have a couple of the kids, or Keith might have a couple of them, we might go out with. Usually, you know, with Eli, we don't usually seldom ever get a babysitter for him, and we take him with us. But other than that,
Well, I guess the reason I'm confused about that is because you said it was not unusual for her to go out with the girls.
it's not unusual.
Yeah, so help me understand. You mean
But that's what
once
I've
a
got with
month,
kids.
or once every other month, or I mean, how much time are we talking about here? You know, because my wife might have a girl night a couple times a year, but she might not be the typical wife either. I don't know.
Maybe probably about 2 times every 3 months.
Okay.
Like once every 6 weeks or something like that.
Sure. So you said Eli generally does not go to a babysitter.
No, he doesn't. I don't want him at a baby, and I certainly don't want him at somebody's house that smokes. I just don't. I don't want it. I'd rather just keep him right with me, and I'd rather, if we're going out doing something, I'd rather just take him right along. You know, right along with us.
So that kind of brings me to one of my questions that I had. When we talked a little bit about the last time that we talked when we were at your house, and you kind of explained it. You know, and I get the fact that she would tell the kids, you know, hey, we got a babysitter for the night or for the evening. We're going to go out. You know, I get that. You explained that the other kids kind of get jealous.
And
if you guys,
we don't want to hurt their feelings.
Sure.
Especially Kylie, the situation. She's always wanted any kid really wants a father figure in her life. She's really struggled in that area, and her mother doesn't want her to think that she's pushing one of the children out and then the other one can go with us. I mean, that's normal. I mean, in my opinion,
sure.
It is.
And I get why she might tell Keith that, because Keith has 2 of the kids. She doesn't want him to tell them differently than what she's told them. Are you familiar with a woman named Christina Holly?
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
There are some text messages between her and Crystal on Friday. And she's asking Crystal if she wants to go to Chuck E. Cheese, I think it was. Something to do with the kids. Something with the kids. And she tells her the same thing. Well, we've got a sitter for the evening. It's our first time being kid free for a while, so we don't want to, you know, we're kid free. We're going to enjoy ourselves.
Right.
Why would she lie to her about
that? I don't know. I can't answer that question.
Are her and Christina close?
Yeah, I mean, they've always been good friends. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Do they? I mean, close enough that they see each other on a regular basis every few days, or
no,
talk on the phone? Or
they talk on the phone, but I don't know if they see each other that often. But I think we were also supposed to maybe go to the zoo or something too. She was going to take. She's got a little girl that's really close to this, born in the same month apart.
As Eli?
Yeah, as Eli.
I mean, it's just curious to me. You know, these are the things that make me wonder. And in any other situation, they might not amount to nothing. But
did you ever talk to the girl, the Amanda?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
and she says there was no plans for her to babysit.
All right.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that Crystal hadn't planned for someone else to watch him. I don't know that. I mean, you know that because you and Crystal have him together. But I don't know that because I don't know you guys. You know,
I don't know,
what I'm saying?
maybe sometimes she might use Crystal's phone. I don't know, I can't answer that.
Right.
I do not know the answer.
Okay. But as far as you know, you all did not have plans for a babysitter that night.
No,
Friday
absolutely,
night.
no,
The plan was all along for you guys to go to the farm.
yes.
Hmm. It was kind of a weak yes. It wasn't like, yes, that was the plan all along. It was like, yes. It was kind of weak. So the hearing, okay, I think the hearing's in March. I just pulled up the last article that I could find just on the fly here. And this is from WAVE, Bardstown, Kentucky, which I follow for this reason. A trial date was set Thursday. This was 11 days ago. So the hearing happened. There was a hearing 11 days ago. I guess I missed it. I'm going to have to check that out. I'll put it on the community page. I'll put the link on. In connection with 2015 murder and disappearance of Crystal Rogers, which is why this is so infuriating. Now it's 9 years. Brooks, or 8.5, I guess. If July, it'll be 9 years. Brooks Houck, Stephen Lawson, and his son Joseph Lawson made their appearance. They're going to actually try all three of them together. I did not know that. So this is news to me. And it says the trial is now February 10th, 2015. They do have that special prosecutor, so maybe they had to switch things up instead of trying them separately.
Give me just a second. I want to get your phone and look that phone number.
All right.
He's turtling, covering his genitals right now. He wasn't doing that. If you look 5 minutes back, he moved. And it was when he started asking them about their plans for Friday night and why would Crystal's friend have invited them to Chuck E. Cheese if what he said is true. So now he's burying his face in his mouth. Would not want to be anyone in this position. Trust me, I can't even imagine what it would be like to be a person like that there. Certainly if they're innocent, I wouldn't want to be in their position. Guilty either would be, this is what, his worst nightmare. I, again, don't understand how on earth he'd been walking around. Glance at the clock. I think he's not gone long. I'm going to speed this up. I can't get my settings up here. It's not letting me. It's not letting me.
Go right ahead.
Oops, here we go. All right. Now you look on the clock, it's 6:45 p.m. We're going to get through the rest of this tonight. We have about 20 more minutes, 25 minutes, and we're getting to the fun part. If you don't know what it is, you definitely want to keep watching. It gets very interesting. And then I'm going to get right on his brother's interrogation next week.
Okay, if we put that number in.
Yeah, go right ahead. Do what you gotta do.
Looks like you got a couple messages. I don't know how to do that.
You
I've got an Apple phone. So just,
I just want to put the number in, right?
or check contacts or however you do it to see who it is. Yeah.
192-1390. Oh, Steve Lawson.
Okay, who is Steve Lawson?
He's somebody works for me.
This was so interesting.
Hey, Steve. Hey, I can't hear you real good. I'm gonna ask you to speak up a little bit, okay?
Okay, sir.
Hey, I was wanting to know. Hey, I've got some things going on next week. I'm gonna need your help with it. Are you already booked up, or can you help me?
I haven't moved up yet. I was still looking for a place. That's why I needed them numbers from you.
All right. Well, I can write them all down and get them there for you. But I was actually talking about doing some more work with your little skid steer and so forth. Mine's still broke down.
Well, like I said, get with me tomorrow. I'm coming. I know you have a hard time hearing me because it's where I'm located at.
All right.
So just get in touch with me tomorrow and we'll see what we can do. But my question, I just want to tell you, I'm sorry about everything that's going on in your life, brother, and I got you in my prayers.
I said it is a very difficult and trying time, but I appreciate you saying that. But hey, I need your help while I got you on the phone here. Do you remember the other night you called me really late, and I forgot what you asked me. Can you? I guess it wasn't on the phone. I might have been tired. I know it was pretty late at night. Can you remember what you asked me or what you were after?
No.
I can't remember.
Yes, sir, I can. No. I called to ask you for them numbers for our house.
Oh, for a rental house.
Yes, sir.
And what did I forgot? What did I tell you?
You told me that you would call. What's her name? Katie or whatever. She handles all that.
Crystal.
Okay, I apologize.
Yeah.
And she said she handles all that, and that you would get back with me on it.
All right. Thank you so much, now.
Hey, if there's anything I can do, you give me a call.
Thank you. You have a good night now.
Yes, sir. God bless you.
Thank you.
Okay, where do we begin? First of all, dude calls this number back. This is the number that the detective wanted to know who called you Friday night. And obviously Friday night was the last time Crystal was seen alive by him. And he said he didn't remember. We can just call him back. They call the number and Brooks Houck doesn't say, hey, I'm in the police department in the interrogation room. Anything like that. Like you would think if he didn't know that call was coming, you might mention that. In any case, he didn't mention it. The number goes to Joseph Lawson. Joseph Lawson is one of the three people that will be tried with Brooks Houck that we just mentioned, where the trial date was changed to February 10th, 2025. There's a lot of from this article, and as I can imagine, as anyone could imagine, a lot of uncertainty is whether they want to really try all three of them together. But Lawson and his son are suspected of helping Brooks pull this whole thing off. So he's like, Crystal, what was her name? Crystal? And you were going to put me in touch with her, and God bless you. And oh my gosh, that did not at all seem staged to me. So no, it's not the brother. It's
Okay.
That's next.
So that begs a question in my mind.
All right.
If she's in the truck next to you when he called, why would you need to call her about getting numbers for rental property?
Because being that late at night, we're headed to the house. I just wouldn't. She normally is not going to deal with stuff that late. And I mean, I probably didn't even look at the phone to see who it was calling me. I'm sure I just answered it.
But he said you told him that you'd need to call her.
All right.
Right.
Why would you need to call her? I mean, that's an odd phrase for someone who's sitting next to you in the truck.
Right. So right here, the detective is hearing what this Steve Lawson said about their conversation. And even though they rehearsed everything, they didn't think of this part. They're like, why didn't you just give the phone to Crystal if that's who he needed help from? Maybe because she was no longer alive at this point.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see exactly what you're saying, but I mean, that's what if that right there is what I told him, that right there is what I told him. We wasn't on the phone that long, but normally I would just, she handles all that, and that's what I would do. She's not gonna wanna mess with that kind of stuff that late. I'm sure I probably tried to answer the phone really quickly, so that it wouldn't, a lot of times after I get moving, Eli goes to sleep, sometimes he goes to sleep in the truck, sometimes he doesn't. So if you want to call him, and you got his number and everything, if you want to call him, you can call him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the detective knows he can call him if he wants to. Thanks for your permission, Brooks. Detective is thinking. He's like, this doesn't add up. So interesting.
What do you think?
I'm shocked. I do not know.
I mean, you told me that she doesn't do drugs.
She's not on any kind of drugs that I'm aware of.
She drinks socially.
And mildly, yes, not any kind of.
Every 6-8 weeks, something like that, right? Has she ever had trouble with depression before?
Not really, not to my knowledge. I mean, there's always stress that's your highs and lows in people's life, but I wouldn't classify her as a stressful person or someone that's deeply depressed.
Well, I know Keith Rogers, her ex-husband, or still current, but not together. I know that he has had a drug problem in the past. Was she with him during the time that he had the drug problem, or was that after?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
You guys got
I mean,
I
think that he has fought that for some time, and I think that she was obviously definitely in the picture while that was going on. But I don't. To my knowledge, she didn't get wrapped up into any of that.
It's really so telling because the detective took his time and he let him squirm a little bit. And he said, "What do you think happened?" And Brooke comes back with, "I don't know. I'm shocked." He doesn't say, "I have no idea." He says, "I'm shocked." And the weird thing about it is they had just previously, like 10 minutes prior in this interrogation room, they talked about how Crystal's mother came up to him in his car while he was filling it up with gas on Saturday, the day everyone was looking for. Where is she? The first day she was notably missing. And he's like, everything's okay. So if he's in shock, he's sure not showing the mother she's in shock. And of course, that's why she went to the police. So not acting like somebody who's in shock. And I don't think you go into shock when somebody goes missing. I think if you care about the person, you're going to be panicked and looking like her family was. He was going on with his life as if nothing happened. Not like he was shocked, from what I can see.
I guess the biggest problem that I have is that most women are not going to walk away from their purse and their cell phone in the car.
I agree with you.
You know what I'm saying? If she were going to walk to go find help or something, she would take her phone even if it was dead. She wouldn't. My wife wouldn't leave her purse anywhere for any reason. So I can't figure why she would walk away from the car and leave the purse there. When we took the bloodhounds up there, the lady commented that it was though she wasn't even there. I mean, they had her things that you provided us for scent, and they said it was as though she was not even there.
So sad.
I can't explain that. I don't understand what that means. I don't know why, if it's her car and she leaves in it sometime Friday night, why does it appear to the dogs that she's not even there?
I agree with you.
This same set of bloodhounds tracked her in the car from 49, and they had never been to your mom's farm before, tracked her scent all the way down 49, turned on Balltown Road, and turned on Pascal Ballard as though they were following your car. So I know the dog's not defective.
That's right.
Because they're following her scent, and they don't know where your mom lives. They've never been
That's
there
right.
before. So the dog's nose is not defective. So when the dog doesn't even try to find her on the parkway where her car ends up, it's just very odd to me. And I can't figure out why they wouldn't find any scent of her at all if she walked one way or another.
It would have picked it up.
Right. They would have at least walked far enough for her to have been picked up by somebody. You know if you break down on the parkway, somebody's not going to pull bumper to bumper with you. So you're going to have to walk from your car to their car to get
That's
in.
right.
So the dog doesn't even act like it wants to go in one direction or another, even far enough for her to have even gotten in a car with somebody. That's just weird to me. I don't understand. Unless she was never in her car when it got put on the parkway. I don't know.
So this is really interesting because that rules out a whole lot of other things. The detective is explaining here about the dog not picking her scent up at all in her own car, except for at his mother's farm, is really telling. It really does narrow down the scope. Again, why did it take him 8 years to? Okay, I know I'm a broken record. Why did it take 8 years to arrest this dude? But okay, we're gonna have a trial.
I mean, I can't answer that. I do not know.
Do you know of anybody that would want to hurt her?
I mean, as far as I know, she's a well-likable person.
Right.
I know that she's done a few evictions with some folks, got a few people upset, but
Were they missing eviction?
I mean,
like threat?
I mean, there's never a good eviction.
Right, but I mean,
But
somebody
no, I mean,
has to
it's
be
just
out.
normal business. But I can't think of anything. She's a likable person. I can't think of anybody who would want to harm her.
Ever have anybody show up at the house upset over something? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You come in there when it's not.
I got to tell you something. This is I hate to say it, smart on his part, but contrasted with Wendy Adelson, who couldn't help but list, multitude of people who absolutely hated her ex-husband and is continuing to this day, as she's been a witness in several trials regarding her husband's murder, to talk about how many people hated him. At least he didn't fall for that trap. I mean, there's a silver lining, I guess.
Not appropriate for them to be coming to their landlord's house. Ever have them show up at your house, beating on the door, or hey, you threw me out, or whatever?
I've never had somebody come up there to the house over an eviction saying you threw me out. Not one time. Now, several of the tenants do come to our house. Some people don't just mail a money order check. Sometimes people stop by there and drop it off.
Sure.
And, she can write them a receipt that way or whatever. But as far as what you're saying about you evicted me and you threw me out and they're confronting her about it, never happened one time.
Is Kylie's dad, Kylie's dad, he doesn't have anything to do with her?
Very little. I don't even know. I think he lives a far piece from here. I'm not really sure.
So I thought they said her dad's name was John Fenwick. Is that correct? Or
No, that's not right.
That's not right. Okay.
I think it's Jesse. John Fenwick is one of the owners of Bluegrass Seed.
Right.
Yeah, that's not her.
Okay.
That's not
So
her.
Jesse Fenwick.
I believe, and that might not even
Somebody
be
that doesn't
legal.
live around here close.
Yeah, it's a far piece.
Is it not? But obviously, his mom lives on Stone Road.
Yes.
So he's a member of that Fenwick family that's from around here.
I don't know how many sets of Fenwicks there are, but I know there's.
As far as I know, there's only two. Now, I don't know which one he would belong to, and there may be more than that I'm unaware of. But,
Right.
so, do you know, is she related to the Fenwicks that own the Bluegrass Seed? Or
I
think
do
it's
not.
different?
I don't think she is, but I do not
No,
know.
for sure.
I
I
don't
can
do
ask
family
you.
trees and all. I don't do all
Right.
that.
I didn't know since you do business, if you've done business with them, if it came up. And then Ashley is the daughter that her mom and dad raised.
I mean, okay, just imagine this. You're just having a conversation with somebody or you're being questioned by the police, whatever, and they ask you if you know if one person is related to another. this guy is so, I mean, I don't know what to call it, but you guys come up with the word, but you don't have to do family trees to have knowledge of whether somebody's a cousin or a distant cousin because you discussed it at a party sometime where it came up. Like, this guy is definitely trying so hard to rise above, I guess, and act as if he's just so beyond above these people and what it is that the detective is trying to get at. It's so telling and obvious. And I will honestly say Brooks Houck is somebody who I probably wouldn't last more than 30 seconds in a room with. I would totally be bored with him.
Yes, and I figured out her last name is Johnson. I couldn't tell you that the other night because I was so darn stressed out, but her last name is Johnson, and I do not know her dad's first name. I just know that he stays incarcerated quite a bit. He'll get out from time to time, but he will only make it about a week, and they find a reason to lock him back up again, whether it be drugs or whatever it is.
Have you all ever had any trouble out of him?
I've never met the man. I know that was a pretty abusive relationship from what Crystal's told me, but I don't really know. I can't speak intelligently upon it. It's been quite some time back, so I don't know a whole lot about it. I don't even know the guy's first name.
No custody issues with Keith?
I know that Tori has told her before that she gets mad if Tori gets mad if she's been corrected or something like that right there. She'll say, well, I'm going to my dad's house, or I'm going over here. You know, they'll want to flip back or forth or whatever, split house.
Play one off the other.
Yeah, I know Tori does that, but I mean, I don't think they've ever really had any big issue on getting the kids. From what I can understand, that's been pretty good. I mean, if one of them wants them, or Keith wants them for a little bit, or the kids want to go over there, they just had kind of like a mutual agreement where that's what they did. That's just what they did. They never really struggled with it,
Yeah. Well, okay. So I guess where I go from here, we're still getting video from different places, that along that route.
Can I get this?
Sure.
Here we go. Here we go.
No. I'm up here. I know that you didn't know. I'm up here in this interview with the Detective Snow. I've been up here a good little while.
Yeah.
I'm filling out this statement here and everything. Are you telling me that's what I need to do? I know that. But the way that I look at it is, I'm innocent. I ain't done nothing wrong. I know you told me innocent people have got jammed up, but if you're telling me to leave, I'll get up and leave. If you want me to. I know I'm going through a lot, but I'm trying to get this guy to help me. I don't think she's ran off with some other guy. I don't believe that. You can't make me think that. No. Yeah, so do I. I'll do exactly what you're telling me to do right now. Do you want me to get up and leave? Man, I don't think these guys. I don't think these people are vindictive just to skin me for no reason. Man, this is not their family. This is not.
Academy Award here. And the Oscar goes
All right,
to
thank you. He thinks y'all gonna fuck is what he thinks.
I don't know who he is.
Nick, my brother.
If you want to go, you're free.
No, I know it, but I'm not. He just said just to keep sitting up here, to give a statement, do an interview, whatever I got to do it. But he said, darn, just letting them just beat you to death over this right here. Just ask what you got to ask and let you know.
And you tell me.
You see what I mean, he knows more about this than I do. You see what?
And have I told you that I'm for you?
Yes, you have.
I said, what did I say? My job is to find Crystal, right?
That's right.
However that happens, my job is to find her. Whether I
Right.
find her hopefully alive and well and safe somewhere or not, my job is to find her. If I don't find her alive and well, my job is to prosecute the person that did something.
That's right.
If that turns out to be you, my job is to prosecute you. If that turns out to be someone else, my job is to prosecute them, to gather
Yes.
evidence for a lawyer, a prosecutor to prosecute them. I don't know whether that person will be you or not. Well, did I not tell you when you come in here and sit down today that right now you're the main person of interest?
Yes, that's right.
And I explained to you the reason that you're the main person of interest, right? You're the last person to see her alive, right? And I went through your timeline with you and explained to you that there's gaps in your timeline, right? Be it good, bad, or indifferent, you can't remember some things about Saturday, you can't remember some things about Sunday. That's not a judgment against you, that's just a fact. I am simply a fact finder. If you want to go, you may go at any time you wish to. I would never dream of stopping you, didn't tell you you had to stay. If you want to bring a lawyer in and answer questions with a lawyer, you're welcome to do that. I'd have been asking you the very same questions in front of your lawyer that I asked you today, right? I have not given up hope of finding her alive. That being said, you know as well as I do, the longer this draws out, the less likely we are to find her alive unless she's run off somewhere. I mean, that's just a fact.
That's right.
That's just the facts as they are. I am not for you. I am not against you. I am not for her family or against her family. Right now, my job is to work for Crystal. Plain and simple. It's just that simple. If that means that I have to interrogate you, then that's what I have to do. You've been nothing but cooperative with me. I appreciate that. We've talked. This makes number third time?
I don't know. I can't.
3 times. Here, the first time. At your house, the second time. And here, the third time again. Not counting the polygraph, because I didn't ask you any questions then. You've not asked for a lawyer. You're right. That's your right to do. You're entitled to do that.
Okay, just to clarify, because of the questions in the chat. So at this point, his brother Nick, who just called him with this staged call that obviously, why did he even pick the call up? But who would do that? Who would pick up a call in the middle of an interrogation? Anywho, I can't imagine. You would think if you were innocent, you would be very much concerned about what this investigator was going to ask you and tell you, honestly. But yeah, call was from his brother Nick, who was at the time of the call during this interrogation. He just actually used the word interrogation, so I don't have to struggle with that anymore. He was an active duty police officer. He was a colleague of this detective. So the detective listened to this conversation with great interest. And now we're hearing what we're hearing.
If Nick thinks you should go and you want to take his advice, go ahead. It's fine. I'm not offended by that. My job is not to make you happy. My job is to find Crystal. If that makes you happy, awesome. You know,
Love that.
But make no mistake, my job is to find her. That's what I'm doing. If I offend people in the midst of that, well, I'll apologize later for offending people. If it finds her home safe, then I'll just take the blunt of offending people and go on.
Yeah.
You know, just like what you said. Doesn't matter what they think of you, as long as we find her.
That's
All
right.
right. So that being said, you know, you're free to take Nick's advice if he wants you to leave. I don't really have any more questions with you. I was just going to tell you where we go next.
All right, yeah, well, wrap it up and you tell me what we're doing next, and if it's over, it's maybe pass along.
So, yeah, you know, here's what I'm looking at, right? I'm trying to find video of her car getting on the parkway, whether it's New Haven Road or 150, trying to find some video of her car getting on the parkway in hopes that it will reveal to us when it gets on the parkway, because there's some confusion about that. Some people calling in saying they saw it on Saturday. Some people calling in saying they saw it on Sunday morning. Some people calling in saying it wasn't there Saturday or Sunday morning. That's just the nature of the beast. When you put information out there, you get a lot of it back. So I'm trying to figure out when it got on the parkway, and if I can, who was driving it when it got on the parkway. Maybe she was driving it, maybe she wasn't. Maybe somebody else was driving it. I don't know. You know, maybe somebody stole it and it got a flat tire and they left it on the parkway. I have no idea. There's a million possibilities about how it got on there. So I'm trying to figure that out. I would like to fill in the gaps in your timeline. I may be able to do that with the video at your aunt and uncle's house, because they may be able to show me when you came and went from the farm on Saturday, those kind of things. I'm probably going to interview your mom. I'm probably going to interview Nick and ask them, you know, if they were with you anytime during that time. Maybe they have a little better memory of it. They can fill in those gaps. I'm probably going to interview the employees that called you Friday and Saturday, or Friday evening and then Saturday, interview them and ask them, you know, when you called him, what did you talk about? How long did you talk? Mr. Stanley or whatever his name is, you know, did he answer the phone? Did you all talk on Saturday morning? If you did, what did you talk about? Did you go see him? Those kinds of things to help me fill in your timeline, which gives me a better idea of whether or not you're involved in her disappearance. And that's what I do. So, and then once I've done as much as I feel like I can do, I'm going to move on to other things. I'll be honest. Beyond that, short of finding her somewhere, I've done about all the forensic countermeasures I can do. You know, we've gone through the car with a fine-tooth comb. We fingerprinted the car. We've gone through her purse. We're going to start going through bank records. You know, she did have an account. I know you told me you didn't know that she did or didn't. She did have an account of some sort. My understanding is maybe from a family member that there was some Social Security disability from Keith for the kids that maybe went into that account. Maybe that's the case. We'll kind of look into that. You know, we'll start questioning people about the validity of those kinds of things, about the apartment and those kind of things, and try to get a better idea if that's just a shady rumor or whatever, you know. But unfortunately, I've got to dispel all these rumors. You know, that's part of my job. We've got to either prove them, disprove them, or no, we can't do either. So that's where I'm at.
All right.
So I appreciate you coming in. If I ask you to come in again, or if I come see you, again, know that you're always welcome to tell me you don't want to talk to me anymore. That's perfectly okay. All right?
I just feel like this is hilarious because Nick's call to Brooks was at the very end when the detective was already done asking him questions anyway. So they really showed their hand. And then Brooks showed very little interested. He said, let's just wrap this up, when the detective was telling him that the next step that he was going to take was to tell him where they're at in the investigation. You would think if he was actually innocent and concerned about where the mother of his child and live-in girlfriend was, he would be intrigued. But what does he say? He says, let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up. Okay, he wasn't interested in hearing anything that the detective just shared with him about where they have gone with this investigation thus far, although it was still early on, and where they're going next. He just wanted to get out of there. He sits there and he listens to him, and as soon as the detective stops, he starts grabbing his things and taking off. He's showing no interest in what they're doing to find her. In fact, he's showing a lot of confidence that they're not going to, which they still have not found her body.
Are you completely done with my phone?
Yes, sir.
And there it is. Ew. Just ew. That's it. Okay. I made a little comment post on the community page the other day, 5 days ago, and I wanted to see what you guys all had to say about this. But my post said Michelle Triconis trial giving me Barry Morphew vibes, which give me Brooks Houck vibes, which remind me Brian Walsh is a copycat. And I said, that's the update, carry on. But then I also commented, and then we have the Adelsons, because there are so many common denominators in these murders. of missing, some of them missing women. What I found interesting is that with Michelle Triconis, as well as Fotis Dulos, who committed suicide before he faced murder trial, again, charges even against him for the disappearance and also never found body, just like in this case, of his ex-wife, or soon to be ex-wife in this case. What is Fotis Dulos and this guy have in common, Brooks Houck? Well, they were both in the home construction and development business. Both bodies have not been found. And I thought that was it's super sad, but these guys would have planned in great detail what they were going to do in order for that body not to be found. And those are what they have in common. And guess who else is in that kind of business? Barry Morphew. And both Barry Morphew and Fotis Dulos were found to be disposing of, I hate to say trash because we don't know what was in there, but evidence from both of their ex-wives, or wives to soon to be ex-wives. And it did take a long time, but Suzanne Morphew's body was eventually found. Barry Morphew might be recharged. He was charged and then released, so he may still be charged, but they all are starting to sound alike, and it's really scary to me. And then Brian Walsh there's a lot of similarities with Brian Walsh up in New England, and his wife's body, also Anna Walsh, has not yet been found and may never be. And he was also caught on video disposing of evidence. So, and some of that evidence was retrieved, but not the body in that case. And the Adelsons, well, so we have Fotis Dulos talking in code, speaking in code, coming up with a code after the murder so that they can communicate with not just someone who has been charged, and is Michelle Triconis, who is actually is in an active trial right now, but also others with using code language on the phone. So they're not found out. It's so obvious when they're doing that. So many sad similarities. All of them are, of course, murders that happen within a family, within a divorce or custody battle. So I don't know if you're watching all of those, but there it is. Maui Swift. Hello. Yeah. All of them. For sure. Okay. And Tennis Girl says the call from Nick to the brother was very obvious. I mean, the detective knew that. He didn't say, I'm in the interrogation or at the police department, right? He didn't even say that to either of them. So it was very obvious that both people, the one that he called and the brother who called him, knew exactly where he was. Now, I think he did say he told his brother he was coming in. You're very welcome. I'm glad you enjoy it. Thank you so much. My throat's starting to give out, but guess what? We made it through. We made it through the entire interrogation, and I was going to do 30 minutes and another 30 minutes, but I really want to get on to Nick Houck. We have some other trials that are coming up that are so interesting, and I just think it's important that we all as a society, keep our eye on these things. And I've learned so much over the last couple of years since I started watching trials in earnest and listening and such. So great to see you all. I'm just going to quick share our extra unless you have some other questions. It's been great to be back. It's been so long. It's been a whole 6 weeks. I'm going to do my best to come back weekly, but as many of you know, I'm still struggling with some health issues and it's going to take a while. So there might be some ups and downs. So I'm just going to come on when I can. And that's how it's going to be. So with that, thanks again for being here. It's really good. More than that, good to see you. And if you're replaying, say hi. And with that, have a very, very good night.